I to think that women who can like monetize their sexualness is insane. Good for you, girly bobs. Like I am proud of y'all. If men are stupid enough to see it, pay for it, do it. I love it.
Apurva's this clip recently went viral. Her statement triggered widespread backlash and quickly became a talking point online. It reignited an ongoing debate. A few days ago, another Instagram influencer, Muskan Karya, was at the center of online outrage after people discovered she earns lakhs every month through her exclusive content. These instances didn't just provoke criticism, they sparked larger conversations. But instead of jumping to outrage, let's take a moment to look deeper. Let's talk about why this content is so popular in the first place and why some women are drawn to creating it. Who is actually responsible for this ecosystem? Who sustains it? Why is our outrage so selective? Is the discomfort truly with the content or with who is profiting from it? And most importantly, are we questioning the system or simply scapegoating the visible side of it? By the end of this video, we will explore all these questions and hopefully find some clarity. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. The relentless demand for such content is overwhelmingly driven by men. And this is not based on assumption or bias. This is a conclusion supported by numbers, behavioral patterns, and data. Female creators who use their appearance, sexuality, or sensual appeal to build a career are often labeled as cheap, shameless, or attention-seeking. They are ridiculed publicly, vilified on social media, and dismissed as a threat to culture. But the people consuming this content, the ones subscribing, paying, saving, sharing, and funding, mostly men, face little to no backlash. When the content is condemned, the consumers disappear from the conversation. The OnlyFans platform generates billions in revenue annually. Out of its 305 million users, only about 1.5% are creators. And of that small percentage, 84% are women. Flip the perspective and you will find that 71% of all subscribers are men. Over 213 million male users. The numbers speak for themselves. There is clearly a market, and the market is predominantly male-driven. And here is the hypocrisy. Society claims to oppose vulgarity, objectification, and over-sexualization, but platforms like OnlyFans are not thriving on content no one watches. They are thriving because millions are willing to consume that content. According to an article by Social Rise, quote-unquote, OnlyFans work and what helps provide maximum content for subscribers. This works because subscribers are predominantly men. So if the creators are called out for selling it, shouldn't the buyers be held equally accountable for buying it? Consider the case of Bonnie Blue. She made headlines when she claimed to have had sex with 1,057 men in just 12 hours. She received immense backlash for what was clearly an irresponsible and controversial act. And rightly so, it was not just extreme, but also deeply concerning from ethical, medical, and social perspectives. But amid all the criticisms she received, one question remains largely ignored. Who were the 1,057 men who showed up voluntarily to participate in the act, knowing that how risky it is for them and for their partners? Now, if you thought Bonnie Blue's case was shocking, let's talk about something even more disturbing. In China, a case surfaced involving a man known as Uncle Red or Sister Hong. He was a 38-year-old man who pretended to be a woman online and lured over 1,600 men into sexual encounters, which he secretly filmed and distributed. What's more shocking is that some of these men realized during the encounter that he was not a woman, but still continued. Some even returned for repeated encounters, and many of these men were married or in relationships. What does this say about the desperation of some consumers? That even when the illusion breaks, even when deception is obvious, they are still willing to engage. Is the problem really the content or the unrelenting hunger to consume it? It's not just about women, it's not even about the illusion of femininity. It's about unchecked desires, addiction to stimulation, and an unwillingness to take accountability. This same attitude is evident in another trend, the 6,000 Russian women meme. 6,000 में तो रशियन आ जाएगी।
आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई और मेरे पास एक सवाल है, आप रशियन लोगों के बारे में क्या सोचते हैं? रशियन
6,000 रुपए।
A so-called joke that treats Russian women like discounted commodities. Men forward it, laugh at it, and even use it to criticize Indian women. But think about it. What does this say about how we view women? Not as people, but as products with a price.
ये 150 की, ये 200 की, ये 500 रुपए की है, ये 300 रुपए की है। 300 में ना
While we shame women for monetizing their looks, we don't criticize the people who reduce them to a price tag in the first place. And we must address another myth that revealing clothes or suggestive content is what invites objectification. If that were true, why do we see young girls, sometimes even minors, being sexualized in harmless, fully clothed videos? Some men leave disturbing, vulgar comments under videos made by teenagers and children. Why? These girls aren't trying to be provocative. They are dancing, laughing, playing, just existing. So when people say women invite this kind of attention, what exactly are these children doing wrong? The problem isn't skin, it's a mindset.
कहाँ जाई हो हमारा कोई तो हमें छोड़ देती है करा के ऊपर वाले तेरा जवाब हो
A mindset that objectifies by default, that projects desire onto anything and everything regardless of context and consent. There is also a dangerous cycle at play. Social media platforms reward what gets attention, and unfortunately, content that appeals to male fantasies often gets the most clicks. This trains creators, especially young women often unaware of what this cycle truly involves, to lean into what works. They start using suggestive captions, cropped frames, strategic camera angles. Is this self-expression? Sometimes, but other times it's just a strategy. It's survival in an attention economy. However, that doesn't mean these creators are innocent. Some are very aware of what they are doing. They play the game for money, fame, and growth. But even then, they are responding to a demand that's already there. They didn't create the rules, they are just playing by them. And here is where the hypocrisy intensifies. The moment a woman posts something revealing, she is bombarded with hate. She is called cheap, attention-seeking, classless. But the very men who criticize her are often the ones watching, saving, and sharing her content privately. Some go even further, creating reaction videos, clipping and reposting her content without consent, and sometimes using AI to generate explicit versions of her image. That's exactly what happened to Archita Fukan. A man used her real face and name to create an AI-generated porn star. He gained over 1 million followers in days, he made lakhs in profit, and instead of outrage, he received applause. People praised his technical skills. He was celebrated for violating someone else's identity, privacy, and dignity. Where was the empathy for Archita? Where was the outrage? Would it have been different if she had posted the same images herself? So, if the real problem was just too much skin, why didn't the people shamed him too? Or is it only a problem when women are in control of their own image? If a woman profits from her body, she is a disgrace. But if a man fakes her body and profits from it, he is a genius. When private videos of women are leaked, the internet doesn't flood with sympathy. Instead, men swarm the comment sections asking for links. If this content is truly shameful and immoral, why are people so eager to consume it? Why do people go out of their way to download, share, and circulate it? This isn't about morality. It's about entitlement. An entitlement that says, I should have access to a woman's body even without her consent. And it gets worse. Whenever a brutal rape case makes headlines, many men don't react with empathy or anger. Some go to porn websites and search for clips, real or fake, related to the incident. Think about that. What kind of society turns a women's trauma into a category of content? Let's not pretend men are innocent on the internet. Many openly talk about their porn addiction, sexual fantasies, and masturbation habits. They crack explicit jokes, use vulgar language, and casually degrade women in public forums.
कमाल का माल है, देख रहे हो ना यार, आप कमाल की माल हो। कसम से ना दबाने का मैं ना मेरे पति कैसे सब्र कर रहा हूँ मैं बता नहीं सकता, मेरा दिल कर
Yet, they are not labeled characterless. They are not blamed for corrupting society. But a woman who posts a dance video, suddenly she is the reason for the downfall of culture. Why does society's honor always rest on the shoulders of women? And here is a truth few want to admit. Thousands of female creators are making educational, artistic, and socially meaningful content on dance, art, finance, entrepreneurship, health, mental well-being, and many more. But their reach often limited. Their views a fraction of what a low-effort double-meaning reel gets because algorithms follow behavior. Platforms amplify what we watch, like, and share the most. So, if you really want to fix the internet, start shifting your attention. Reward what you claim to respect. If the views shift, the content will follow. Platforms follow data. Creators follow engagement. Demand determines direction. This video isn't justifying vulgar or suggestive content. It's not defending creators who exploit the system. But let's not pretend they built this system. They found a shortcut within it. So maybe the real question isn't why are they making this content? Maybe the real question is why does it perform so well? Because if the demand didn't exist, the supply wouldn't either. Maybe the problem continues because we keep blaming the symptoms while ignoring the disease. We fix the cracks, but not the foundation. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, consider subscribing, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.